Hello and welcome. I'm Paul, and this is my channel, WellBeing with Paul. In today's episode, I'd like to share with you something I like to call fake confidence and true confidence. So let's start with fake confidence. This is best described through a situation. Now, this one I made up, but actually does happen more frequently than not, where people encounter this form of what I would call fake confidence. So let's imagine for a moment that you have taken part in some form of exam or test, and you and your classmates or equivalent value are having your results published on a piece of paper on the door of where you learn, where the scores are highest at the top and lowest at the bottom. You arrive with your so-called friend, and they immediately see where your score is. You maybe have a high score, maybe second, third or fourth highest in the group. And they go, "Oh my God, that's amazing! Congratulations to you, that's amazing! You worked so hard, you studied so hard. That is the grade you deserve, that's amazing! Oh, you're so awesome! 80%, 70%, that's awesome! I can't believe it!" They then look up and see their score happens to be maybe the highest score, something equivalent. And they go, "Oh my, what? I'm at the top, I got 98%? Nah, that's impossible. No way. I didn't even study. I didn't work as hard as you. Honestly, how did I get a score like that? They must have got our scores muddled up. Because I didn't study, I didn't work hard. You did all those things and I got a higher score. They must have got our scores muddled up. We must talk to the teacher about this, because I honestly, I didn't work that hard. I have no idea why my score is so high and yours is lower than mine. Honestly, I don't know what's going on. And that ends the scenario. But I hope you notice in here some of the little small things that person did in that situation to raise themselves and lower you. Well, the figurative speaking of you. Okay. So let's have a look at that situation with a little more detail. So the first thing they said is they highlighted, once they saw their score, they highlighted that they didn't work. They didn't try. They didn't put in the effort that you had. You worked so hard. You studied so much. So what we start to see here is they elevate themselves through the image of not even trying, but getting a much higher grade than someone who did try really hard and didn't get the same grade. This is an elevation method, which I have identified, or I would like to call fake confidence. And this type of situation happens so frequently. Maybe not in this exact scenario, but in many ways, where people will elevate themselves and demote others in an effort to try and feel what I will call a fake sense of confidence. Now, my observations, I believe this form of confidence is born from our modern day society, where we are told from a very young age that the top 5%, the top 1%, the top X% will be the ones who get the job, get the career, get the money, get the X. Have you ever noticed that message being delivered to you? Have you ever heard things of that nature? That if you are in the top group, you will have X success? Well, I have. I've worked in a university, I've worked in many settings, and I've heard this message repeated throughout my life and career, that the X top % of people will get the X top amount of X. Money, wealth, power, whatever it is those people are trying to advertise. But what this does is it's not saying the people who achieve X or Y do something. It simply says the top group will be the ones who succeed. So even if your cohort, your group, what you're part of, that number of people, it could be actually surprisingly unsuccessful. But as long as there's still a top group, those people, according to this equation, will still be succeeding. They will still be the ones who achieve whatever they're looking for. So it's not based from that equation, based on the verbal information anyway, that is not based actually by success of practice. It is success of the group. And what this leads to is what I believe this form of fake confidence, where people will suppress others to elevate themselves. Because as long as they remain elevated above their peers, above their cohorts, above their friends even, they still have the potential of success. But the key thing is recognizing this feels much more like a survival technique, because people need things to survive. We need food to survive. We need shelter to survive. We need modes of transport to engage with those things and such. But it does, I feel, come from a sense of survival, which makes it into this primitive approach of trying to elevate ourselves with a sense of, if I don't, what bad thing might happen to me? So this is what I call fake confidence. I've seen it so many ways and so many times over the course of my life and career. I would like you to have a think for a moment and see if you've ever had those experiences. Now, I'm not trying to call those people out in any negative way. I'm trying to reflect on why they're doing it, so we can start to think about how we can change it. But as we mostly know, we can't really change others, but we can certainly change how we interact with them or change ourselves. And that now brings me to true confidence. Now, true confidence, from my observations, was never been better example I've ever had than my first Kung Fu teacher. Now, my first Kung Fu teacher was a guy called Josh when I was at the University of Southampton. And he was actually a disciple of my later master of Kung Fu, Shifu Yanxin. And Josh, was an incredibly friendly chap, and he was so much full of energy, and I will not lie, from my observations was an incredible martial artist with amazing talents in so many ways. But when we were in part of this class in Shaolin Kung Fu, we had in the university, like all martial art clubs I imagine, numerous people coming from different backgrounds of martial arts and life and such, bringing their own skills to our class, to our group. And this is where I started to see what I will call true confidence. So when Josh was given instruction, he would ask people to do X, Y, and Z as part of the class. We'd have to do kicking drills or punching drills or such drills. But when he observed people coming from a different background or different talent level to himself, where they excelled, these people really did excel in that talent, instead of suppressing them and saying you're doing it wrong, you're not doing it the way of the Shaolin Kung Fu or X or Y, he instead opened up the class to see and witness, and more importantly, learn from these people. By highlighting, look at this person, look at what they're doing. Let's learn from this. See how high they're jumping. See how fast they're kicking. See what techniques they're doing. These are amazing. And what happened in those situations was it allowed the class to grow even quicker because we were learning from each other, not only Josh, and later our teacher. And what happened in that situation I observed was we could see that Josh accepted where he was. He accepted that he was a talented martial artist. But when people excelled in those areas and surpassed him, instead of trying to suppress them or bring them down, he elevated them to a place where they were. And he rejoiced in those moments. He praised those people and he was happy for them, as we all were encouraged to do so as well. And this is what I'm trying to say. When I observe true confidence, people bring you up with them, and in fact are happy if you go past them. Because what it's about is being happy where we are at that time, in that moment, in this place. And that is what I will call true confidence. I share this with you in a hope not only does it help you navigate the world in different ways to your betterment, but also it maybe brings about a little bit more what I like to call truly confident people who elevates not only ourselves but everyone around us to make this world a better and happier place for so many much more, as we all deserve. As always, please do subscribe, do all those things they talk about at the ends of videos. Until next time, bye for now.